There is no need to listen for divine directives if you will not obey. Abi? There's no need for you to be saying, God, what are you saying to me? What are you saying to me? If you will not obey God. In Job chapter 36 verse 11, the Bible says, and so if they serve and obey me, if they serve me and if they obey me, they will spend their days in prosperity and they will spend their years in pleasure. They will spend their years in pleasure. Obedience. What are you saying about my finances? Yes, sir, I hear you. I hear you. I will do it. I will do it. And there is nothing like obedience. Obedience to God brings the quickest results. When you do it because the Lord said so, brings the quickest results. It brings supernatural testimonies. When you do it in response to a thus saith the Lord. I gave it because God said so. Watch the testimony. I went there because God said so. Watch what God will do. Divine directive, outright obedience. God said to Abraham, sacrifice your son, your only son, on a mountain that I will show you. The Bible says, early the next morning, Abraham arose and went. Didn't push it to the next week. Early the next morning, Abraham arose and went to do what God said to him to do. So obedience is actually a function of faith. So financial prosperity answers to faith by obedience, or the obedience of faith. Let me say it like that. The obedience of faith. Because faith is actually acting on what God has said. Do we agree with that? Faith without works is dead. So the faith that produces financial results is the faith that obeys what God has said. What God has said. And sometimes God will give you irrational instructions. He will tell you things that don't make sense. He will tell you to go places you don't feel like going. He will tell you to give something you don't feel like giving. He told Abraham to give Isaac. I don't think it was the most convenient thing for him to do. But God told him to. And he did. And God came and said, I swear. It's like God did, like if it's a Yoruba boy, he'll put his hand on the soil, touch his tongue, and say, I swear. A blessing. I will bless you. Why? Because he obeyed God. In Psalm 50, I think verse 3, it says, gather to me my people who have cut a covenant by sacrifice. Who have cut a covenant by sacrifice. Why? Because obedience is the ultimate level of sacrifice you will carry out. That's why the Bible says obedience is better than sacrifice. It's better than killing animals. Who can't kill animals? Anybody can kill animals. But when God says, tame your appetite, let that thing go, it becomes difficult. And Abraham, like you've heard me say, Solomon that killed 1,000 bulls couldn't stay away from 1,000 women.